right, YouTube, welcome back into another video. My name is Nolan. Hope you had a great Christmas. Thanks for joining us on this Boxing Day. Please remember to like and subscribe. Get in the comments, roast me in the comments. Tell me I've got a horrible take here because I thought the Christmas Day games yesterday were really interesting, and obviously it seems like the headline should be Jokic, who had a 56-point triple-double. Pretty sure he had a triple-double in the third quarter. I mean, the guy was unbelievable. They had a great game against the Timberwolves, went to double overtime. What a fun game for Christmas. But to me, that wasn't the biggest story of the Christmas Day games. Of course, the biggest story to me, the Spurs. Got to talk about the Spurs beating OKC again. A real rivalry starting to form here between OKC and the Spurs. The Spurs seem to have their number. No one else can beat the Thunder this year, but the Spurs, they can. I mean, they looked really good. They've been playing a lot better, and Wemby is still just coming back from an injury. So they look really good. The Spurs are 9-1 in their last 10 games, going on an incredible run. And this is why I think this was the biggest game from Christmas yesterday, because the Spurs now, I think, are officially out of the Giannis Antetokounmpo sweepstakes. Who's going to trade for Giannis? I don't think the Spurs are in it anymore. I don't think that they're going to offer Castle and Harper or Castle and whoever they were going to give. I think they might stick with their team, build around Wemby, Castle, and Harper, and they added Fox and Cornette. They've got some older guys. I mean, they did some good moves over the offseason, and I think I would stay. You know, they could make some moves along the edges. What are they going to do with Sohan and things like that? But I don't see them as being big players in the Giannis sweepstakes, which now for me leaves only two teams where Giannis can go to. And let's start with the first trade here. I love doing the mock trades, you guys don't like me as an NBA GM, but I like doing it. So I think the Rockets are still in play. I think I know everyone is mad at me for trying to trade Reed Sheppard, and I promise I got nothing against Reed Sheppard, but I still will double down on my take that I think the Rockets should probably look to trade him and capitalize on he's young and proven to be incredibly valuable. So I think they could get a good return. He would be a part of the Giannis trade. Here's the trade. It's Şengün, it's Reed Sheppard, and it's Eason for Giannis. 3-for-1, 3 players for 1. The problem here is I just don't think the Bucks would do it. I think it would be hard for them to trade Miles Turner, and you can't really pair Şengün and Miles Turner. I don't see that working out. So for me, I think I'm not sure if the Rockets would do this either. They like Şengün, they like Reed Sheppard. Eason's been playing well. We'll see if he gets a contract extension or what they'll do with him. So I don't know. It just I don't think this one will happen. So let's move to my next trade, which of course the Knicks got to be involved. Let's see. I think this is where Giannis will ultimately end up, is in New York. And there needs to be a third team involved because Towns and whoever from the Knicks is not going to get it done for Giannis. So let's take a look at this trade with the Knicks and how. So the third team that I think the Knicks and Bucks should get involved in this is Portland. I think the Trailblazers are the team that could make this happen for both teams. Obviously, the Knicks, what they'd be getting is Giannis and Kuzma. There you pair Giannis with Brunson and Bridges and Anunoby, and you've got the best four guys in the league right there. Your starting lineup is one of the best. You get to keep Mitchell Robinson. You add Kuzma for shooting off the bench. They've still got a few other guys off the bench that can, score a little bit, but that looks to be one of the favorites in the East. If you add Giannis to all those other guys, the length, the switchability, the scoring with Brunson, it kind of makes sense getting Giannis in a huge market like New York. It seems like he wants to go there and play with those guys. So I think it makes sense, of course, for the Knicks, but they'd have to give up a good amount. For the Bucks, they would get Jrue Holiday from from Portland, Jerami Grant, who they've been interested in. They've talked like they would like to have him. So Grant, Jrue, Josh Hart, and Donovan Clingan from Portland. Obviously, Josh Hart is from the Knicks, would be going to the Bucks. So for the Bucks, why would they do this? They want to be competitive. They don't have their draft picks. They need to field a good team. And you still keep young guys. You got Porter, you got Rollins, and now you got Clingan too as a young big. You keep Miles Turner, and I think Clingan would be like your backup five. He can come in when Miles Turner isn't playing well, or you need a better defensive player. I just think at this point in his career, he's not really an offensive center. I see him more as a Steven Adams type, where he could play, maybe 17 minutes a game, lots of offensive rebounds, lots of block shots. That's kind of what he's best at. So they get a young big, and they get some established players who can help them win right now. Why would Portland do it? Portland would get Towns, offensive center, to pair with Sharp and Advia as their big three. They'd get Jackson Jr., they'd get Kolek, and they'd probably get a pick as well, maybe a first rounder, a first and a second rounder, something like that to sweeten the pot. They'd get off a few of their medium-sized contracts for one huge one in Towns, but I don't know. I think it kind of makes sense for all three teams. Portland, it's more of a reset. You get the pick. Clingan, not really an offensive center at this point. You move on to Towns, who is more of an offensive center, and you try and pair him with Advia and Sharp going forward for the next few years. I mean, I think there's something there for all of these teams. I think it keeps the Bucks competitive. It makes New York still one of the favorites. And I don't know, it just kind of, you take another swing with a really good offensive center if you're Portland, and some picks and some young guys, and just kind of reshuffle the deck. It doesn't sound that great for Portland, but I think it's got to be a three-way trade. Milwaukee's not going to do it if they're getting Towns and Kolek back, or whoever you're trying to give them from the Knicks. So I think they got to rope in a third team. I think it's Portland. Let me know what you guys think about this trade in the comments.